Call the special meeting of June 19th, 2018 to order. The invocation will be recited this evening by Councilman Marn.
Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this day. Help us to use good judgment for the business at hand and guide us in wisdom with a continuing sense of truth and fairness for the community we represent.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Mr. Marne?
Here.
Mr. Blake? Here. Mr. Donovan?
Here.
Mrs. Dowling? Here. Mr. Kirchner?
Here.
Mr. Krieger?
Here.
Mr. Landig?
Here.
Approval of minutes. Council, you have the minutes of the work session of June 5th, 2018.
Move to approve?
Julie, call the roll.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan? Yes. Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
And the minutes of the regular meeting of June 5th, 2018.
Move to approve?
Second.
Julie, call the roll.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner? Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
Public hearings, we have one public hearing this evening. Ordinance number 18-0-054. And I'll call the public hearing for ordinance number 18-0-051. This public hearing is being held pursuant to notice published and posted according to law. Julie, please read the title.
An ordinance approving and adopting the tax budget of the City of Mentor, Ohio for the fiscal year commencing January 1, 2019, and submitting same to the county auditor and declaring an emergency.
1 second. Did we have a conflict there?
Yeah, that should be 4.
I'm sorry. When I read the second section of the ordinance, it's 18-0-054. Mr. Filipiak?
Thank you, Mr. President. And this is the official start of our budget season, which is certifying expected revenues on our property taxes. Mrs. Lingenfelder, please.
Thank you, Mr. Filipiak, members of council. This is following a requirement by Ohio Revised Code, and it's our annual request for property tax revenue from the county. We have to certify it by July 15th and present it to the county.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the applicant? Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this item? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition of this item? Would the applicant like to respond? I believe you already did. So, hearing none, council is in receipt of all correspondence and emails received pertaining to this matter. This public hearing is adjourned. Tabled legislation, ordinance number 18-0-026 will remain tabled for now. New legislation, ordinance number 18-0-54.
An ordinance approving and adopting the tax budget of the City of Mentor, Ohio for the fiscal year commencing January 1, 2019, and submitting same to the county auditor and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Filipiak.
Nothing further to add.
Move to suspend?
Second.
Julie, call the roll.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Landig?
Yes. Move to approve?
Second.
Julie?
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
Ordinance number 18-0-054 has been approved. Ordinance number 18-0-55.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to approve the fiscal year 2018 Community Development Block Grant Budget, submit the fiscal year 2018 HUD CDBG Action Plan, and enter into sub-recipient agreements to undertake the action plan and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Filipiak.
Thank you, Mr. President. And the council's had a chance to see what activities and services we plan on providing for next year for the 2018 federal fiscal year, which begins October 1st. Happy to report that we had almost an 8% increase in the allocation going forward, so that's a nice change from what was being discussed just a year or so ago when there was some talk about maybe the the program actually being reduced or eliminated entirely. I think you'll find that what we're proposing is essentially in line with each of the past several years. One distinction would be we're not allocating any dollars over to the Mentor Economic Assistance Corporation, since that will in all likelihood no longer continue as an organization. That money has been moved into the public service section, funding other improvements within the community consistent with the applications we received.
Council?
Move to suspend.
Second.
Julie, the roll, please.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Landig?
Yes. Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, the roll.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
Ordinance number 18-0-055 has been approved. Ordinance number 18-0-056.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 16075 and authorizing the amendment of a previously executed but never funded mentor incentive grant with Malish Corporation and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Filipiak.
Mr. President, Mr. Traub, please.
Thank you, Mr. Flipiak and members of council. As the title of the resolution indicated, this ordinance was initially passed in July of 2016, but was never funded. Council may recall that there was a significant fire to the building that Malish now occupies, and while several years had transpired since they took possession of that and began reconstruction of a portion of the building, and then construction of outfitting, if you will, of some of the manufacturing space. There were a number of delays that, from the standpoint of a bottom line, if you will, actually delayed their moving employees from our sister city to the west to the Mentor facility, and as a result, they were not able to enjoy the benefits of the MIG that you had in fact authorized. In looking at the options before us, it was felt that in fairness to Malish and the contribution and investment that they're making to the city, that we are recommending that the start date be moved up a year so that they would be entitled to that full both abatement percentage and duration, if there are any questions.
Council?
Move to suspend.
Second.
Julie, call the roll.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Landig?
Yes. Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, call the roll.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
Ordinance number 18-0-056 has been approved. Resolution number 18-R-113.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to prepare and submit a NatureWorks grant application to the State of Ohio Department of Natural Resources for a new ADA-compliant playground at the Civic Center and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Filipiak.
Thank you, Mr. President. And the NatureWorks grant is a ODNR program that is county-specific. So we will be competing against other grant applicants within Lake County. We have discussed in the past as a project some new playground equipment right here in the Civic Center that would be accessible for handicapped persons. The grant application is for $90,000. It's a almost $400,000 project. We believe that if we're able to secure this funding, it's likely that we would be able to secure most of the additional match through other funding sources. One of those sources could actually be a reallocation of the Neighborhood Stabilization CDBG program, which you remember we took advantage of 6-7 years ago, where some houses were rehabilitated, mostly in the Headlands area. That money has been returned, and there's a little over $300,000 there that would have to be used for a compliant purpose. So that's one opportunity, and I know that Mr. Bruckman has a few other agencies that have expressed an interest already, including the Mentor Rotary, with contributing some additional funding. So if this piece falls in place, we'll be able to leverage that against some other funds. And I suspect that would be one of our topics for discussion in our 2019 budget meetings.
Council, what's your
Move to
pleasure?
suspend.
Second.
Julie, call the roll.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Landig?
Yes. Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, call the roll.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
Resolution number 18-R-113 has been adopted. Second reading, we have none. Third reading, we have none. Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. I have one pavement open cut request for council to consider. It is on Tyler Boulevard for the Fastenal Company for a sanitary and gas service at 8240 Tyler Boulevard. Ask for your approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
First correspondence? Oh, I'm sorry, move to, Julie, call the roll. Sorry.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
Thank you, council. And I just want to introduce the newest member of the administration to you, because I know that this is someone that council has, a position the council has worked closely with in the past. Kelly Mylott, if you could stand up, please, Kelly. She is our new code enforcement supervisor. She is a retired veteran from the U.S. Air Force and a Lake Erie College graduate, among other things. And we'll make sure that you have her
Welcome aboard, yeah.
contact information.
Hi, Manor High graduate.
Take a look at these faces, Kelly. You're going to get to know them well.
Speed dial really quickly.
You said that like it's a good thing.
Now,
Thank you. City's road striping contractor plans to start work shortly after the 4th of July holiday. The work will be performed exclusively at night, and we ask that the public please slow down when approaching their equipment and give them sufficient space when passing. With the 4th of July holiday approaching, residents are reminded that under city ordinance, it is illegal to possess and/or discharge fireworks within city limits. It is a violation of this ordinance is a fourth-degree misdemeanor, and most importantly, we want everyone to remain safe. So keeping them in the hands of the professionals. And we have a fantastic display this year planned, and so we encourage everyone to come out for that. Both the asphalt and concrete work are nearing completion in the 2018 road repair program. Once the work is completed, a punch list will be prepared, any necessary corrections. Certainly welcome any council's comments if you've noticed anything that didn't quite turn out as you expected within the wards. And they will certainly be finished well ahead of their August 17th scheduled completion date. The city did submit 4 pre-applications to the Ohio Public Works Commission for around 33 OPWC funding. And a few items of note to speak about in the Recreation Department. The Menor Movie Night season kicks off tomorrow night with Star Wars: The Force Awakens from 8 to 10 p.m. at the Civic Amphitheater. I actually think that's Thursday night, so this is wrong. I'm certain that that's Thursday night at 8 o'clock. The Menor Farmers Market kicks off this Friday, June 22nd at Garfield Park and will continue weekly through September 14th. Market hours this year are from 3 to 7 p.m. This Saturday, our Menor On Tap and Uncorked event will take place from 5 to 11 p.m. right here at the Mentor Civic Center Park. You have an opportunity to sample the best that Ohio brewers and winemakers have to offer, and also enjoy some great food and live music. This is a 21 and over only event. For tickets and information, you can go to www.mentorontap.com. And this program gets bigger and bigger every year, and it's been very successful, so we expect a big turnout. Also, happy to announce, this has been in it's been in the paper and the literature, but we want to keep mentioning that city's very happy to be bringing the Cleveland Pops Orchestra to the Menor Civic Center for our 4th of July celebration. And probably going to get started around 8 o'clock and run past 10 o'clock. Usually Typically, our concert series goes from 7 to 9, but they'll start a little bit later because they will actually be playing music in sync with the fireworks display. So they'll run a little bit later that night. And then finally, we have several new businesses to announce. R&W Computer Service and Repair at 7139 Hopkins Road. Gypsy Iron Cycles LLC at 8762 East Avenue. Twice Love Shop at 8806 Menor Avenue. YDM Fitness at 8824 Menor Avenue. Gander Outdoors has reopened at 9620 Diamond Center Drive. And North Coast Ilakai, is that right?
Close enough.
Ilakai at 8920 Menor Avenue. So we thank them for their investment and confidence in our community, and we wish them great success. That's all.
Thank you, Manager. Clerk's correspondence, Julie?
Council is in receipt of a liquor permit transfer of stock from Ganish Nilkanth Food, Inc., DBA Headland Supermarket, and that is all.
Commission committee reports. We have the meeting minutes for the Community Arts Commission for March 1st, 2018, the Community Arts Commission for April 5th, 2018, Board of Building and Zoning Appeals for May 8th, 2018. Old business, we have none, but now new business, maybe we should mention something about Mr. Traub. I believe this might be his last meeting.
One more.
One more? One more meeting, that's it, huh?
July 3rd.
Oh, boy. Okay, well, we'll hold off all the accolades till then. We'll just add more. Okay, we have no persons before council?
Move to adjourn.
Second. Okay.